He's managed to get himself on the inside, but he's caught up on the curve. Sean Allen, the outside special. We've had a huge crash. This can't be real. I think he might have this dropped on finally. Ethan Warren gives him no space. He's in the wall. He's in the wall. Turn 4, he's taken out Bruce Dean as well. Oh, big moment there. Kurt Stenberg on his roof. Big crash at turn 4. That is an unfortunate huge crash. Oh, the huge wiggle on thought he was clear. Oh, he loses a little bit of time. He's back at the turn. What the? The track is blocked. Inside of turn 5. That Dayne Warren is behind them. The late move. Final corner. That's the death. Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to the third round of the Automobilista Supercars Championship. It is the Tasmania SuperSprint tonight. Hope you're all staying safe wherever you are, doing your bit to ease the burden on our medical system. Madbird joins me in commentary tonight. Unfortunately, due to the current circumstances, we're obviously doing this remotely, but the difference to you in your spectator seat should be pretty much negligible. Madbird, welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks as always for having me, Stairs. It is a pleasure to be here from my own desk. Would love to be able to stand alongside you tonight, but as you say, with the recommendations coming out from state and federal governments, probably best to maintain that social distancing, wash our hands, and stay the hell indoors whenever possible.
100% agree. Now, with all that said, it's time to forget about it, as we are going to go sim racing tonight. So let's just quickly have a look at the results from the last round, where Dayne Warren was pretty much the dominant force for the entire night, winning both races. He took the first race from Jake Moloney by 25 seconds, and Dominic Ferrari's rounding out the podium there. Kurt Stenberg finished fourth, which was a good start to his championship after not being able to compete in Adelaide. Brody Steen in fifth and Sean Allen in sixth. Aidan Schultz in seventh. Colin Warwick finished in ninth place, with Jay Borg and RSM Latino the last in the 10.
Absolutely, and for race 2, Dayne Warren took out the second win in commanding fashion ahead of Jake Moloney, with Kurt Stenberg coming home in third. So finally getting a podium for his championship defence. Sean Allen, again the bridesmaid, in fourth. Brody Steen in fifth. Dominic Ferraris backing up a solid first race. Sixth isn't too bad. And then Zach Baker and David Nenadich for ZB Racing in seventh and eighth. Colin Warwick and Jay Borg rounding out the top 10 for race 2.
And what that does for the Drivers' Championship is it puts Dayne Warren in the lead of it, taking over from Jake Moloney and Brody Steen, who were tied for the lead of the championship at the conclusion of round 1, and Colin Warwick in fourth place with some consistent points finishes. Zach Baker is in fifth place ahead of his Race on Oz, sorry, not his teammate, that's Brody Steen, who's Sean Allen's teammate. Beg your pardon. Sean Allen in sixth place, getting a 35-point penalty actually for contact with Dominic Ferrari's in Melbourne. Dominic Ferrari's in seventh place, RSM Latino in eighth, David Nenadich in ninth, and Kurt Stenberg rounds out the top 10 in the drivers' points.
Yeah, after the second round of the season, I don't think Kurt Stenberg would want to be in 10th. Race on Oz doing a good job of defending their team's championship win from last season, currently on top by about 40 points from Tasman Racing. Logitech Altus Esports, beg my pardon, in third place, with Stealth Penrite Racing in fourth. ZB Racing down in fifth, but it's quite close there between fifth and first, only about 200 points in it. Then there's a bit of a drop down to Prologue Racing Esport, and a few other teams rounding out the top 10 there.
Now, we're going to go through the Super 2 results, but we might just wait till after qualifying till that, since qualifying is getting underway as we speak. So let's have a quick look at the racetrack for tonight. It is the Symmons Plains Raceway near Launceston, Tasmania. There's the opening sequence of corners, and then there's this long run down to the lowest hairpin in Australian motorsport, turn 4, the Brambles hairpin. Coming out of that, it's another long run down this straight to turn 5, and then 2 left-handers to finish off the lap. The qualifying record from last year, a 51.0, but we've already seen Dayne Warren do faster times than that in the practice sessions, Madbird.
Yeah, absolutely. He was about 4 tenths ahead of the rest of the pack with a 50.7 as the end of practice. So already obliterating that time, and it is a very short lap to find that sort of an advantage on. Looks like David Nedidich is the first runner out on track. He's just gone through the first sector split, not setting the timing screens alight, but getting some clear air is going to be very important during this qualifying session because it is such a short track. You're going to come across lapped traffic, for want of a better term, at every possible situation. So finding a little bit of clear track to wedge yourself into and set some hot laps would be invaluable. David Nedidich trying to do that by getting out first, but he's already falling down the timing screens.
Yeah, immediately eclipsed by his teammate, and then Dayne Warren going straight to the top on a 51.0. On his first flying lap, got some action going down at the hairpin. Sean Allen having contact with someone. I didn't quite see who that was. But on his first flying lap, Dayne Warren has obliterated the record for qualifying set by Jake Moloney last year.
Yeah, he's bloody quick, to state the bleeding obvious. I believe it was Alex Cattle, who is only just now recovering to the track at the hairpin, who Sean Allen had some issues with. So not quite the same Race on Oz team, kind of a sister team to Race on Oz, or a B team perhaps, but a little bit of in-team scuffling early on, not good.
Dayne Warren looking like he might go faster again and goes under the 51 bracket, all of a sudden taking 2 tenths out of his first attempt, which was apparently just a banker lap. The lap record, which we were sort of going to be building up to, saying,
has already been destroyed.
This is Dayne Warren's tour of the Automobilista Supercars Championship calendar to obliterate every single lap record that we have seen set from last year. Not going faster on this lap, but still half a tenth only away from the time that he just set.
The 51 flat was probably a bit of a warm-up lap for him. He probably had traffic. He probably overtook half the field or something and still managed to beat the last year's lap record. Got Tim Abernathy saying, go Kelvinator. And we've got Rodney Andrews, of course, Tyrrell from our Apex Rear Wing League, saying, yay sports. Yay sports indeed, Rodney. Yay sports indeed.
Welcome along. Everyone watching, do put your comments in the chat. We love to see the interaction, and hope you're all enjoying yourselves. And what's happened to Sean Allen there? I looked away from the screen, don't know what's going on. We've got a bit of action in the pit lane, some people coming in, some people coming out of the pit lane, that is. We've got Kurt Stenberg on a pretty quick lap. He's actually up on Dayne Warren's fastest lap. He's had a bit of a lock-up of the inside through the last corner now for Kurt Stenberg. Can he topple Dayne Warren? He's second at the moment. It's going to be mighty, mighty close here, and he's managed to lose just that little bit of time in the final sector, but he's only half a tenth off there, Madbird. Yeah,
so Dayne Warren not untouchable, although we did see that he was capable of about a tenth faster he did in practice, Dayne Warren that is. So Kurt Stenberg with a bit more time to make up, but it's encouraging that he isn't that far away, although as we were saying before the broadcast, on a track like this, it's very hard to find significant amounts of time because it's such a short track. Finding a tenth through a sector here is probably like finding about half a second at most other tracks.
Got a few new drivers joining us, some wild cards, if you will, for tonight's race. We've got Hayden Kruger currently in 15th place there, driving one of the wild card cars, and then Luke Rosella, who set some fast times in practice with the headlights on there. Currently in 12th place, see if he can improve on that. He's driving the other wildcard car, as well as a number of drivers coming up from Super 2, including Benjamin Dahlia and RSM Latino, that I can think of just off the top of my head.
Also in a wildcard car is Joshua Anderson, who I believe is the Joshua Anderson from Aussie Racing Cars. That's right. Not sure if he is meant to be in a wildcard car, if that was the only car available to him. I imagine he would be quick enough to be in the main dance regardless.
I think he just doesn't have a livery yet there. It's probably the
very
only
much
reason.
so.
But well done to Joshua Anderson.
So Sean Allen currently sitting in third place, which he would probably be happy with considering the company that he's holding up there. But Thomas McMillan breathing down his neck about just over half a tenth behind him. Thomas McMillan with some very, very good pace last round at Melbourne, but in true Thomas McMillan fashion, did not capitalise on it.
Yeah, he's actually our driver in focus tonight. We're going to have a bit of a chat with him later on, which was pre-recorded. Through the magic of technology, we were able to bring it to you after it was recorded. But Thomas McMillan was kind enough to speak to us at the Bathurst 12 hour, and I think some of the things that he hoped for this year haven't come to fruition so far.
Yes, and one of those things, presumably, would have been wanting to take out the maiden win of the Apex Rear Wing Clippity Clop 100, which unfortunately he did instead.
No, that didn't happen. Any guesses who did? In the live chat, we'll give you maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds? It was Dayne Warren. But do watch it. It was certainly not a foregone conclusion. Even at the start of the last lap, those races were still very much in dispute. If you've got no idea what we're talking about, we're talking about the horse mod, the infamous horse mod that Automobilista, I think it was converted by Kurt Stenberg from an R-Factor mod, which is literally just horse models with no moving legs. They just drive along, and you've got this sound, and you can find all the action of those races on the Apex Rear Wing YouTube channel. Absolute laugh, that one.
Bloody hilarious.
Yourself competing in that one as well.
Yeah, not covering myself in glory, but goodness me, the noise that those things give off when everyone's lined up on the grid, and they're all just making a noise and just periodically going was I could barely keep myself from wetting myself. It was hilarious.
It's been so far the most important race this month. We haven't had a race yet this round.
Absolutely.
But Brody Steen currently down there in 18th, looking to improve, of course. His time obviously not indicative of what he can do, and he improves to 11th place. Zach Baker currently in 5th place, doing a good job as it stands.
Very good job. I've been a little bit disappointed with the ZB guys so far this season, which probably sounds harsh, but
well, they set a high bar, don't they? Last year, they were very
exactly.
quick.
It just goes to show how much esteem I place on them, because they were quite quick last season. They were sort of towards the start of last season. They were sort of in the position that the Race on Oz guys are now, where they're sort of knocking on the door of the podium every race, or indeed taking regular podium positions. But they just sort of fell away, and they have not managed to catapult themselves up thus far. But who knows? Maybe this race will be the turning point. Zach Baker drops down to 6th now, and Joshua Anderson takes 5th.
Yeah, as he was coming into the pits, Zach Baker, that is, David Nedovich was coming out of the pits. So nicely coordinated, the ZB guys, although a little bit of traffic. Looking at the timing, it's probably about half the cars on track right now, half of them in the pit lane, which isn't too bad considering.
Yeah, 21 runners tonight, so decent field.
That is good.
More than we had for last round, and it's a much smaller track, so the chances of seeing some action are very much heightened.
Must shout out to Steve Warwick, father of Colin Warwick, another one of our Super True recruits from last night. Got into a bit of... It does some decent lap times, but I think he had a few mistakes during the races last night, but still finished well enough and showed enough pace to get the call up tonight.
Very good. Any nepotism there, do you reckon?
Oh, well, look, I'm not one to make judgments. I shan't cast aspersions. What are we looking at?
Alex Cattle just having a almighty spin. Looks like coming out of the first turn, potentially.
Just catching a replay of that Madbird. Let's have a look.
Big old spin. And into the little escape road / alternate track layout, I believe.
I like that livery. The Race on Oz colours, or the Race on Oz design on the red colours look pretty good.
It reminds me of a Vodafone livery or something.
Oh yeah.
It's got that sort of grey or silver and red combo. But yeah, I seem to remember last season the first sequence of turns being an interesting point during the race. Although we did have a few, let's say, less skilled drivers than we do tonight. So potentially it'll be a little bit cleaner.
Well, Dayne Warren's just gone fastest through the first sector. I was about to say the battle for pole position has gone fairly quiet for the last 5 minutes, with Dayne Warren's early pace not being eclipsed, and Kurt Stenberg hasn't improved on his effort, which was half a tenth down on Dayne Warren, but Dayne Warren looks like he's about to move the goalposts once more.
Yeah, absolutely. He is a tenth up at the moment as he's coming into the last corner. Dips a tyre in the grass, but doesn't seem to have slowed him down any. He's almost up on 3 legs going through that corner, and he's lost it. That last corner must have just been not very good, because that's pretty much all that the last sector is, that last corner onto the straight.
Well, he was up in both of the first sector and second sector. He was purple, and so he's lost an awful lot of time in that final sector, more than 2 tenths. Kurt Stenberg's got no reply on this lap. He's 9 tenths down, so that's no good at all from him. And if I look at the timing screens, no one else seems to be anywhere near them. 2 tenths down to Sean Allen. Thomas McMillan 3 tenths.
And Sean Allen's going to be lucky to... Oh, Thomas Paul at the Brambles hairpin straight into the wall when he's lost his splitter. Oops. I was about to say Sean Allen, who's right behind Thomas Paul, is going to be lucky to find some clear air to do some laps in, considering the gaggle that he is sort of surrounded by. But potentially Thomas Paul will get out of the way now that he's lost a significant portion of his car. Yeah,
that was a bit unfortunate. Front bar goes flying, the hairpin. Sean Allen presumably on an out lap there.
I noticed that in the live chat we've got a fellow by the name of Lewis Kugeley giving odds on McMillan to DNF.
Oh, here we go.
Perhaps a gentleman should pay his current gambling debts before gambling any further. Not casting any judgment, of course, just saying, give me my $10.
102 doesn't seem like very good odds.
Seems like very poor odds,
Dayne
to be
Warren
honest.
up by a quarter of a tenth here, coming into the second last corner of the lap, but he was up by significantly more than that, I think, on his previous fast lap. Let's see if he can improve. Has he done any better in the final sector? He has, half a tenth up, and that is a full 1/10 of a second exactly to Kurt Stenberg now.
That is incredibly pleasing. And I'm almost hoping Kurt doesn't improve, because it's not going to be as pleasing a number as exactly 1/10.
Well, he's not improving. He's down by 2 tenths on his own personal best. In fact, his own personal best is faster than Dayne Warren's. So, just goes to show he's losing time at all the crucial parts of the racetrack, but he is faster in some other parts. Dayne Warren is on a cool-down lap currently.
Big accident on the start-finish straight. I believe it was Jack Handel directly into the wall.
Let's have a look.
But he's already gone back to pits.
Well, that's unfortunate. Love that DuPont car.
It is very nice. Yeah,
He's come a cropper. I think what might have been Jay Borg or Steve Warwick, one of the Penrite cars. It could have been Colin Warwick, but well, I've covered my ass there. Either way.
It's like when you're not sure how to spell a word and you spell it both ways in the same sentence, so that way you're at least 50% chance of being correct.
Dayne Warren.
Unless of course you then discover there's a third way to spell it.
Don't you hate that? Third ways to spell things?
I absolutely do. Sorry to interrupt you. What was this about Dayne Warren?
Oh, he was coming into the pits. It really wasn't important. RSM Latino was 17th and has stayed 17th on that lap. Josh Anderson currently in 5th place. So he's the highest of our newcomers as he comes in.
That's somewhat unsurprising. He did take out a win, I believe, at Bathurst with the Aussie supercars.
That's right, in real
Aussie
life.
Supercars, Aussie racing cars, sorry.
Yeah, he's no mug, that's for sure. Very good driver. RSM Latino is actually still on a lap, so he's up by about a tenth on his own personal best, and I'm just looking at the timing. He's got some time to gain, because look at the two in front of him, Jack Handel and Kelvinator, both within a tenth of a second. In fact, less than that, 0.03 of a second, but he's dropped it all in the final, in the middle part of the lap there as RSM Latino. So that's
and
all,
he spun it.
That's all turned to 2020 and a heartbeat there for RSM Latino.
That has all turned to 2020. It concerns me that that's probably going to be an apt way to describe things after this year.
Yeah,
I did say qualifying's finished.
Yeah,
I didn't even realise.
I was about to say, yeah, the timer hit 0. Dayne Warren, pole sitter from Kurt Stenberg by 1/10 of a second. You're going to hate this. It was actually 1:01 according to the live races, live timing screen. But that is what it is. Let's have a quick look at the results from the Super 2 last night before we get going into the race itself. And that's the points classification, so we won't worry about that. The Super 2 race classification for race 5 last night was Brett Gerrits who took out the victory from RSM Latino, as we've seen, got the call up, and Benjamin Dahlia, race winner in Adelaide, in 3rd place, round out the podium. It was a bit of a shame. Wayne Carr spun on the last corner of the last lap of that one and gave up 2nd place and wasn't able to recover to get the podium. Tony ever consistently in 5th place from Steve Warwick in 6th. David Sanford looked like he was potentially on race-winning pace, but it all fell apart from him. Matt Cecil finishing behind him. And then race 6, it was Brett Gerrits again. Smaller margin this time, 4 seconds, and Benjamin Dahlia moving up to 2nd with Kai Sloggett in 3rd place with RSM.
What a name.
It's a fantastic name. I do like it. Tony once again in 5th. Unbelievably consistent, that driver. It's like Alonso back in 2012. Matt Cecil in 6th with Brapp in 7th. Wayne Carr finishing down the field in 8th with Stephen Burko, championship leader, in 9th, and Steve Warwick rounding out the 10. And what that did to the championship standings, it cut Stephen Burko's championship lead significantly. Now 3 drivers in there very, very tightly. Tony, with his plethora of 5th places, is only 12 points behind Stephen Burko. RSM Latino in 3rd, and Brapp in 4th. There's quite a few of those one-named drivers up there in the top 4. Benjamin Dahlia in 5th place. Some DNFs in Melbourne really hurting his championship bid. Brett Gerrits in 6th place. Steve Warwick in 7th. Wayne Carr in 8th. A claim bite in 9th, and Matt Cecil, Madbird, rounding out the top 10 in the championship standings for Super 2.
Bloody marvellous. Yeah, I hear that I haven't had a chance to catch one of their races, commentated by, of course, Kurt Stenberg and Colin Warwick, but I have heard, by all accounts, that they're putting on a bloody good show. Yeah,
they do a good job. They always throw the torch to us by calling us the professionals, which gives us a little bit of pressure to live up to, I must say. But we do appreciate that they are appreciative of us, I suppose. It's a mutual beneficial thing. I get to watch...
There's a lot of appreciation going around.
That's it. I get to watch them flounder, and then again tonight, potentially.
and then you get to beat yourself up over your small flounders.
Very much so. I know. We've got some fans.
Sorry, did that get too real?
It did a little bit. Got that Kelvinator in the pit lane just coming out there. I know he's got some fans watching along in the live chat. And no skin for him, but I do appreciate that they've given him a bright colour that's very easy to recognise for Outlaws Engineering.
Oh, and I believe Kelvin is generally a cold temperature, so using a cool sort of teal blue colour is somewhat pleasing.
Kelvinator also being a brand of refrigerator, I'm led to believe by the fact.
Well, presumably because Kelvin is a measure of coldness.
Yeah, it's like a thing that makes things cold. Ater.
I'm not sure where this Ater is coming for though. His name is clearly Kelvin Fortor.
Oh, it's the idea that a 4 might look like an A in certain circumstances.
I'm not up on the cool kid speak. So
you clearly never made a secure password in your life, then. I kid.
We've got our good friend Zirus in the chat. Happy birthday to Zirus for, I want to say, yesterday.
Yeah, it's the 6th. His racing number is 64, and as such, his birthday is the 6th of the 4th.
Of the 4th. Saying no skin. That sounds painful. Very good.
He's up on his dad jokes, is our friend Zirus. Multiple championship winner in Apex Rear Wing.
Indeed. The only multiple championship winner. Who would the other one be, Stairs?
No, I am a multiple championship winner in Apex Rear Wing as well.
That's what I said.
You said the only multiple championship winner.
Oh, I do apologise. In my head, I said the only multiple championship winner aside from another person, but apparently I decided to just cut that part of the sentence out in my head.
It's alright, I forgive you.
That's all good.
So, Jay Paul...
I'm not...
Sorry, go on.
Mate.
No.
No, I was
Please.
I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say. I'm not sure why I'm saying that's all good when I was the one apologising.
Ah, well. We'll just leave that one to its own
Let
devices.
that one go through to the keeper.
What do we got? 1 minute left. Not enough time for our whiteboard segment, which I've apparently forgotten to play, but we'll get to that in between the two races, I think.
We got chatting.
We got
It's
chatting.
always dangerous.
Hopefully people in the chat enjoy that. Wayne Car number 1 says Fong on. Good on you, Fong on.
Absolutely. Man, I want that. What was Kai's surname again? Sorry.
Sloggett.
Sloggett. Can't wait for him to get the. Can't wait for him to get the call up. I wanna say the name Kai Sloggett some more.
Well, podium in his first round in the Super 2 category, so
Bodes well.
it does bode well. I believe he is planning to make it for the next round in New Zealand in 3 weeks' time. If you are watching, certainly don't turn off now, but certainly put in your calendar the next round of the Automobilista Supercars Championship in New Zealand in 3 weeks' time.
Lewis Kugley asking, will McMillan last the first lap? I believe he will. Any further past that is definitely up for debate, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't make a bet on it with him, though. You might not see your money.
No. Never see the $10 that you're owed. Foster Big Lolly saying, Luke Rosella's hot. I'm not sure if that means in terms of speed or in terms of physical appearance. I've not seen the man, so I can't judge. But with a name like Luke Rosella, I can definitely imagine him having a handsome appearance.
Colourful?
Very colourful. Lewis Kugley saying if he does, presumably meaning will McMillan last the first lap, he will run the next round. I'm not sure if you could qualify for the main series, mate.
Them's fighting
and
well,
perhaps worry about paying your current gambling debts.
Probably have to compete in the Super 2 round first to get the call up.
Ah, yes. That, very true. Very true.
You'll be fighting Kai Sloggett for a spot for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I know between Lewis Kugley and Kai Sloggett, sorry Lewis, but I know which name I want to call.
I think Lewis Kugley is a fun name to say.
It's the Lou and the Koo are a pretty pleasing kind of mirroring of each other in the first and surnames.
I had a good
mirroring.
I had a good chat with him at the 12 hour. Unfortunately, my microphone didn't work particularly well and there was a lot of cars going past, so no one will be able to hear what is being said. But I'll put some subtitles up. I'm sure I can remember what the conversation consisted of.
We've got Min Vo saying, let's go Hayden, referring to Hayden Kruger. Currently, he's going to be starting from 21st, so we'll hope that he can move up the field from there. And we've got Fong On saying, Luke Rosella's aerodynamic forehead will bring him the win.
There you go. I'm not particularly aware of that. But what I am aware of is that this is a 25-lap race, and that means that we won't actually have a pit stop in tonight's race. The first race anyway, Madbird, because this is a sprint, and then the pit stop race coming in race number 2 for the night.
Absolutely, and it is a bloody short lap, so once we've got everyone on the grid, which it looks as if we now do, potentially, it's kind of hard to tell, it's just a mash of colours on my screen at the moment, but once we do, I'm going to have to leave you to it so you can go through the grid because there's going to be precious little time, and off you go.
Dayne Warren, the pole sitter, and destroying the lap record. Behind him, Kurt Stenberg off the front row. Best qualifying for him for the year, I believe. And then behind him, it's Sean Allen. Thomas McMillan in the VB car alongside Sean in 4th place. Joshua Anderson in his first race of the year for ASC in 5th place. Ahead of Zach Baker. Dominic Ferrari's in 7th place. I believe he has actually changed team, although it's not coming up on our screen. Still there for PRE, but I've been told he's changed to Trick Esports. Luke Rosella in 8th place. The wild card with the aerodynamic forehead, I believe. Colin Warwick rounding out the top 10 in qualifying for Penrite ZB Racing. Brodie Steen in 11th place for Race on Oz. Thomas Paul behind him for MP Motorsport. Alex Cattle, the satellite Race on Oz entry, out of 13th place ahead of Jay Borg. Jack Handel is in 15th place with Kelvinator in 16th. Let's see how cool he is off the start. RSM Latino in 17th place ahead of Hayden Kruger in one of our wildcard Mustangs. Benjamin Dahlia from Super 2 in 19th place. Steve Warwick is in at 20th. Jake Moloney starting from the back, so I believe he didn't get a qualifying lap in. Aiden Schultz starting behind him in 22nd place for Team 11.
Yeah, but I mean, as we all know, Jake Moloney starting from the back of the grid does not mean diddly squat in terms of him where he's going to finish. He'll probably still make it to the podium. So, very well done, Alistair. Just got some more absolute destruction happening to Luke Rosella in the chat, saying he's got a massive forehead, the biggest.
Oh, right. Well,
so we'll wait and see if that massive forehead brings him luck in the race to come.
lights are on. And off we go, racing in the third round of the Automobilista Supercars Championship. It's a good start there from Kurt Stenberg, who gets ahead of Dayne Warren. In behind that, Sean Allen ahead of Thomas McMillan, but it's Kurt Stenberg leading the way.
Absolutely fantastic work from Kurt Stenberg. That is exactly what he needed to do. And Sean Allen is right on the back of Dayne Warren in this toe down into the hairpin. He might have a go around the outside. It'll be very gutsy to do so. Kurt Stenberg locks up a little bit. But Dayne Warren, with a little bit of squirreliness on the exit, does not manage to capitalise. And Kurt Stenberg holds on to the lead for now. Sean Allen in third place. Thomas McMillan in fourth, about to finish the first lap.
Zach Baker in fifth place. He's got ahead of Josh Anderson, who started in fifth, and Luke Rosella in seventh. Jake Moloney is up to 19th place. He's made it up 2 spots from where he started.
Surprising no one. Absolutely brilliant work from Jake Moloney as always, as Kurt Stenberg leads the way across the start-finish line for the first time. That's 1 lap down. That's gone bloody quick.
Absolutely. 24 to go. So Dayne Warren sets about his pursuit of Kurt Stenberg. He certainly won't want to be behind Kurt Stenberg for too long. Kurt Stenberg already going onto the defensive line on the inside of the Brambles hairpin here. Dayne Warren. Oh, and it's a bit of a lock-up there from Kurt Stenberg, and it's side by side. Out of there, Dayne Warren gets the better exit. Off goes a mirror there. Not sure which car that came from. Might have been, is it Kurt? It's certainly not Dayne. He's got both of his mirrors. But the point I want to make here is that Dayne Warren has taken the lead of the race.
And Kurt Stenberg is giving him about a cigarette paper's width on between their front and rear bumpers, respectively. Not happy with that. Kurt Stenberg very, very deep at the hairpin and led him through an unforced error. And Dayne Warren now in command, although there are a couple of quite long straights here where he's going to be able to get a good slipstream and hang on to the back of Dayne Warren, so his chance might still come.
Meanwhile, we've got some battling going on between Thomas McMillan up the inside of Sean Allen. That's Thomas McMillan up into third place, but Sean Allen's going to dive down the inside again. I think Thomas McMillan will be able to drive around the outside, but it's Sean Allen up underneath him. Thomas McMillan manages to get the better run and stays ahead.
Absolutely, you know what that means? It means Thomas McMillan did finish the first lap. Lewis Kugley in the chat just saying, "Gonna have to dust off the wheel. Thomas is a dog."
Unbelievable. Well, long way to go. I mean, Lewis, you probably threw yourself under the bus by choosing probably the shortest lap of any racetrack that we go to in order to make that bet. But he has actually made it into the third lap, as Dayne Warren sets the fastest lap of the race ahead of Kurt Stenberg.
Absolutely, and it was again Dayne Warren just went a little bit deep at the hairpin, locked up, and Kurt Stenberg had that peak. I'm not sure if that opportunity will come again. It looks as if Dayne Warren has stretched his advantage out.
Now, Madbird, Jake Moloney's just fighting his way up through the midfield. He's up 6 spots now, and he's going down the inside of Kelvinator on the way down to the hairpin.
Yeah, so this will be position 14 for Jake Moloney, so up 8 from whence he started.
Kelvinator going deep there, letting Jack Handel up alongside as they got out of that corner. And it looks like Jack Handel might have the inside for the next corner when they get to the penultimate corner, but he slots in behind, so he doesn't want to force the issue. Probably wise there from Jack Handel. Another fastest lap from Dayne Warren. Madbird, what are you looking at?
Great tussle between Zach Baker and the man with the enormous forehead, Luke Rosella. They were side by side going through the last corner, and it looks as if they are quite tight on pace, with Josh Anderson sort of checking out up ahead, and Sean Allen going down the inside of Thomas McMillan at the hairpin. That's deep. That's very deep. He's off into the gravel. Thomas McMillan avoids. Very well done, and hangs on to that third place. Sean Allen is going to lose oodles of pace as he down into 12th place at the moment, and contacts Thomas Paul when he's rejoining the track. And there's another position for Moloney now up to 12th, so that couldn't have gone worse for Sean Allen.
Yeah, Caught me out a little bit there, just catching a replay now of that Sean Allen incident, seeing Thomas McMillan now pretty safely in third place for the time being.
Yeah, Josh Anderson, the closest man behind him, and even that's a couple of seconds, or sorry, about a second. So, yeah, very bad luck there for Sean Allen, and it's just, he must be sitting in that cockpit just going like, when is my 2020 season going to actually start? Kurt Stenberg deep at the hairpin. That's a lot of time lost. I reckon Dayne Warren can be considered checked out at this stage. The lead is now about several seconds. My timing has suddenly died. 2 seconds, sorry, between Kurt Stenberg and Dayne Warren, and only growing larger.
So that hairpin's proving to be a bit of a trouble spot for a number of drivers there tonight.
Absolutely, it is a sort of tricky braking point because it's also dips downhill as you come into it, so it's very easy to carry a bit too much speed into it.
So it's been a dominant start to the season and the race for Dayne Warren. He's only lost one race, and when I say lost, I mean didn't win. He still featured pretty prominently in that race, and that was to his brother Ethan Warren, who we haven't seen since the opening round, unfortunately. As Kurt Stenberg goes deep once more at the hairpin. So let's just quickly take you through what's happened in this race. Dayne Warren, after an initial hiccup, losing the lead off the start to Kurt Stenberg, is now stretching out with a 2.5 second advantage over Kurt Stenberg, who's having his best run of the year so far. Kurt Stenberg, Thomas McMillan in the third place. I don't want to give him the curse, but it's a pretty good run from him so far. Joshua Anderson behind him in fourth place, with Zach Baker running in fifth place. A good run for the ZB guys. Luke Brazella?
Yes, Luke Rosella, with the massive forehead.
The name was off the screen. I thought he was spinning there. He's just nicely rotating the car on the hairpin, so good job there. Jay Borg, Madbird, is under some pressure from Dominic Ferraris.
Yeah, and that's pressure not to take lightly as Dominic goes down the inside at the hairpin. Looks like he's got it pulled up nice and tight on the apex, and looks like the position is done, although Jay Borg is going to have an incredible tow all the way down this straight. I'm doing inverted commas with my fingers because it is not a straight, but it acts as a straight for this particular track.
Good run there.
But
you reckon he'll go down the inside? It's very tight cameras on this racetrack, but as you can see there, Dominic Ferraris has managed to stay ahead.
Oh, no.
He's gone off the racetrack. As I said that.
Oh, no.
Commentators curse Madbird. Dominic Ferraris relinquishes that position. It was so well held up until that point.
Absolutely. I think he probably was thinking that Jay Borg was going to try to jump down the inside, tried to leave him a bit of room, and then Jay Borg thought better of it because that obviously would have been a plane crash. Yeah. And instead, Dominic flew off the track. As if you've summoned him, Stairs, Ethan Warren in the chat saying, "Get the dogs." Not sure what that's a reference to.
Why aren't you racing, Ethan?
Yeah, where are you, Ethan? We need another dead cert for the podium.
We have had a good look at Dominic Ferrari's new livery here with this new the team saying Prologue React Esports. I believe that hasn't yet been updated. It is supposed to say Trick Esports, but we are seeing the nice